do you think the likelihood is that Crosby could leave Pittsburgh? Because
I don't know.
If Sid says he wants to go,
you got to.
Well, you have to. And you know what? I've been pounding on our insiders to say, where they've been digging around. Every word out of Pittsburgh is absolutely not happening. And I said, okay, you're right. But that's January 25th when this all went down. What if it's March 1st and Pittsburgh's won 2 of 12? And they're
and the futures.
Yeah, and Sid is like at a bad point going, okay, if there's a time to move me, it's now, type of thing, where there is a marketplace or whatever. Like, I always just say a giant what if. Like, and there's no, and all our insiders would have to go is, well, as of January 25th, it was a no-go. Yeah. But as of March 1st, yeah, maybe there was a glimmer of hope. So I never say never until it's like, okay, past the trade deadline, and we told you he wasn't going anywhere. All right. It doesn't mean that we can't talk about it as pundits and go, hey, what if? There's a giant what if. We're in the content game. So what if this happened? It's not that, hey, I'm not announcing I talked to Sid and Sid told me. That's not the case whatsoever. This is just what if, or could you draw a straight correlation? Now, am I radioing myself? And I'll shut up here in a second. In New York, the minute they traded Trouba, they were like, okay, Brady Tkachuk's the guy because it's $8 million and there it is. And, so there was lots of stupid speculation. Maybe this is stupid speculation too. Crosby going to play with his best friend. But maybe it's not. Who knows?
What is your interpretation of guys that did you play with anyone that only played in one team? Like Yzerman, okay, yeah. Sakic, okay. But it's very rare.
Yeah.
And does it matter do you know what I mean? Like, I still remember Rob Ray making the decision to go to Ottawa, and the decision was they didn't have to trade him. It was up to him. Do you want to go to Ottawa to try to win a cup? Or do you want to stay a Sabre for life? He wanted to go win a cup. Now, Sid's won cups, but I don't think the winning of a cup takes away from your wanting to win another. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right. I think it comes down to his headspace and what he wants to do in this year, next year, and the following. Because Sid's a lifer. I feel like he's going to play till he's 40. Yeah. And to me, he's, his play hasn't really dropped off. He's not the problem. Pittsburgh has problems. No. He's not one of them.
And he can help solve the problems. You get a haul for that guy, right?
I agree. It's just my biggest thing is it depends on the scenario. I thought Brett Hull was going to be a St. Louis Blue forever. Goes to Dallas. You know what I mean? I think, did he go to Detroit too? I think he ended up in Detroit.
Dallas, then Detroit, yeah.
I mean, I thought Iggy was going to be a Flame forever. All of a sudden, like, he's playing in L.A. or something. Did he play in L.A. for a cup of coffee?
Yeah,
like
Colorado, Boston, Pittsburgh, L.A.
Yeah, you chase it by the end. It depends. Now, Iggy was different because he wanted the cup and all of that, and I get it. And he had people that were calling him and say, hey, come join us. Like, he's a coveted person. But I played with guys where I thought they would be lifers forever, and it changes. So that's what I guess comes back to my point. January 25th, it could be an absolute no on anything. March 1st, it could be different. Never know.
There's another layer to it. Pittsburgh needs to do something. I'm just looking at their roster. I mean, Sid's 37. Like you said, he's got 53 points in 52 games. He's having a hell of a year, still playing. Russ is 32. Malkin's 38. 31, 32.
Letang and Carlson.
They're an old team that is not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It would make, if only it would made hockey sense. It's good for depending what the return would be, but the Avs could use them, and Pittsburgh needs to start redoing this.
They'd also really get him out if they moved him. You'd get a top 5 pick and a huge haul for Sid, and finally you can start rebuilding. And
I'd worry about the fan base because that would be a heart punch, and you still got to sell tickets. I don't think Pittsburgh's a market that's home and cooled and is an easy sellout every night because then Malkin's leaving. Everyone's going to go. But
man.
Well, what happens if they stay and leave?
Well, they all have a couple years left on their deal. That's the thing.
Like that, you know what I mean?
I know. It's a slow death, though. It's a slow death. Like what you're watching is like, a slow, painful death. Like, like Kyle Dubas went and got Kevin Hayes. He's like 32 years old.
I know.
Like it was like, all right, you're not trying to retool and get younger on the fly. I guess that is getting younger, relatively speaking, but it just, there's some moves there where it's like, okay, don't really understand it, but I understand you're trying to do everything to appease the owners, appease Sid and crew. But at some point,
The reality sets in.
Kyle Dubas will at some point get the go ahead from ownership to go blow this thing up, garage sale, pennies on the dollar. You're going to use the cap space and you're going to flush everybody out. And I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't think it's going to be this March, but I would argue that you probably could start it this March because I don't think they're a playoff team.
Because waiting is only going to extend the pain.
Waiting's the worst. We saw it here with Jerome, and then it was.
Yeah, it was a disaster.
I wonder if Sid was to go and get some advice from Mario Lemieux. You were a one-team guy. You won the cups. You didn't need to do more winning.
So different though to me because Mario was hurt and Mario.
Yeah, but just in terms of because he would have life experience to be able to look back. It's not the end. A lot of guys do it. A lot of guys leave and play for other teams, and it's not as though they're.
Mario couldn't because they owed him so much.
It's not as though their careers are tainted.
No, but I think that, you're on to something. Even you go for a blessing. You're going to the Don. You're going to the dad of the organization because because Mario is and always has been Pittsburgh. So you're going and asking advice and saying, what should I do here? That's probably more what you would do if you're Sidney Crosby is you're talking to your family, you're talking to people that you respect. Mario Lemieux, I believe Sid lived with him when they first got to. So like that would be a mentor / friend that you go, what do you think I should do here? And that's just a candid over a beer conversation. It's not like I need to do something tomorrow. It's like, if you're in my situation, what would you do? Because you're right. He's had the same type of success as Mario as far as cups and all of that type of stuff. Well, keep in mind, here's the other thing. The Olympics are around the corner too. Now, Sid, I think puts himself in the best scenario to play in, the Olympics. We'll see what this other 4 nation, whatever this thing is coming up here next month. Like he's obviously going to be an impact player, but he might get the juices going again. Like actually in February might get that competitive juices to go. Got to be nice to play in the playoffs too.
Yeah.
That might add a little layer.
Pittsburgh on a Tuesday anymore, does it?
Exactly.
And the other thing is too, it might be one of those things for Sid. It's like, would you ever go anywhere? And it might be, well, I'd maybe go to Colorado to play with Nate, but they don't have cap space and they don't have a need. Or they're not in a playoff position or that sort of thing. There's a lot of we can see whatever we want, but you can align a lot of the stars as to why this would make a lot of sense for both sides and for a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. I think, but I also think as fans, this is a hockey fan that jarred me on Friday night. I'm like, wow, is that like at first you're like, okay, is this a fake account on Twitter? And you're going, okay, who broke it? What's going on? Starting to dig around. Then I'm waiting for internal emails, for confirmation. And of course it happens. It's almost like a news dump on Friday night, right? And nobody's on air or whatever. So it was great though. Like this is great for the league.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out more of our content right here on the Flames Nation YouTube page. We had a bunch of great long form interviews. You can check out some videos we've done as well outside of the studio. And of course, if you want more writing or merchandise stuff, flamesnation.ca or nationgear.ca. Appreciate you watching.